You might be earning around $70,000 a year, slightly above the typical U.S. worker, but still feel broke every single Friday. Here's the crazy part. Federal data shows the median full-time worker makes about $1,165 a week, roughly $60,600 a year. You're ahead of that. And yet a 2024 survey found more than half of Americans still couldn't handle a $1,000 emergency from savings. In the next few minutes, I'll show you 10 simple rules that can make someone on $70,000 feel richer and safer than someone on $200,000. Starting with the one rule almost everyone breaks in the first week of the month. First, we stop the bleeding. Then we build your safety moat. Then we finally pay you, your future self, first. Rules 1, 2, and 3 handle that. Rule number 1 is to stop swimming in the deficit pool. This means knowing your real cash flow. It sounds basic, but it's the step almost everyone skips. Federal data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows the median full-time worker earns about $1,165 a week, roughly $60,600 a year. So if you're at $70,000 and still broke, the issue is likely cash flow, not just income. Earning more than average doesn't make you immune to going broke. It just means you can go broke at a higher speed. A deficit is simple. You spend more than you bring in, even if it's only by $100 a month. That small leak will sink a big ship over time. To fix this, you need a simple, one-page monthly cash flow check. No complicated software needed. Just list your monthly take-home pay at the top. This is the real number that hits your bank account after taxes and deductions. Then subtract your fixed, non-negotiable bills, rent or mortgage, utilities, internet, minimum debt payments, and insurance. After that, you need to assign realistic caps to your variable spending categories. This is where the leaks happen. Groceries, gas, eating out, those late-night Amazon purchases, and entertainment. And when I say realistic, I mean look at your last 30 days of bank and credit card statements. What did you actually spend? Don't lie to yourself. The non-negotiable rule here is to finish each month with at least 5% to 10% of your take-home pay left over as ammo. For someone with a $70,000 salary, their take-home pay is often around $4,500 a month. That means ending every single month with at least $225 to $450 unspent. This isn't extra money to blow on a nice dinner at the end of the month. This is your ammo, explicitly labeled for savings and investing. This is the profit your household needs to generate. That leads directly to rule number 2. Build the moat before the castle. Your castle is your financial independence, your investments, your big goals. But none of that matters if it's built on sand. The moat is your emergency fund, and it protects the castle from being washed away by the first storm. And the storms will come. A 2024 bank rate survey found only about 44% of Americans could handle a $1,000 emergency with savings. That means more than half of the country is one car repair, one medical bill, or one broken appliance away from new debt. That's how fragile most households are. Your moat number is 3 to 6 months of your bare bones essential expenses. I want to be very clear about this. This is not 3 to 6 months of your full lifestyle spending. It's the absolute minimum you need to survive. Your rent or mortgage, utilities, basic food, transportation, insurance, and the minimum payments on your debts. Nothing else. Let's look at a concrete example. Mia earns $58,000 a year. which is very close to the national median. Her essential expenses are $2,400 per month. So, a 1-month moat for her is $2,400. A 3-month moat, which is a great starting target, is $7,200. This might sound like a huge number, but you build it brick by brick. If Mia automates saving $300 per month, which is about 6% of her take-home pay, she'll hit her 1-month moat in about 8 months. She'll reach her 3-month goal in around 2 years. And where does this money go? Instead of leaving your moat in a 0% checking account, park it in a high-yield online savings account. Many paid around 4% to 5% APY in late 2024 at places like Ally, Marcus, or Capital One. This way, your emergency fund is safe, liquid, and actually earning a little bit of interest while it protects you. Once that moat is under construction, it's time for rule number 3. Pay yourself first. This means aiming for a 15% or higher wealth building rate. In a minute, I'll tell you the exact percentage the average American actually saves. It's way lower than you think, and we'll stack it against the 15% target so you can see where you land. Government data from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis shows the typical American only saves about 4% to 5% of their disposable income. That's it. We're aiming for 15% or more going into savings and investments so your future actually looks different from the average. This 15% is directed towards wealth building. Your retirement accounts like a 401k, a Roth IRA, brokerage investing, and any other goal-focused savings that goes beyond your emergency fund. The magic here is the mechanics. Pay yourself first. You set up automatic transfers and contributions that happen on payday before that money ever has a chance to hit your general checking account or get spent by your debit card. You're treating your future self as your most important bill. On a $70,000 salary, that 15% target is about $10,500 per year, or roughly $875 a month. Compare that with the average 4.5% saving rate, which on the same income is only about $3,150 a year. Over a decade, the person saving 15% has put away $105,000 before any growth, while the average person has only saved $31,500. The gap is enormous, and it's created entirely by a system, not by willpower. Let's make this real with Jordan. Jordan is 30. A project coordinator earning $70,000 a year, which works out to about $4,500 a month after taxes. Jordan lives in a large U.S. metro where living costs are high. Their weekly earnings are about $1,346, which is 16% higher than the national median of $1,165. Despite this, Jordan ends each month with credit card balances creeping up. Why? Let's break it down. Fixed bills total around $3,600 per month. $1,800 for rent, $200 for utilities and internet, $500 for a car payment and insurance, $300 for student loans, $500 for groceries, and another $300 for phone, streaming, and other fixed services. On top of that, variable spending, restaurants, ride shares, impulse Amazon buys, averages another $1,000 to $1,200. The math is simple. $4,500 in income minus $3,600 in fixed bills and $1,100 in variable spending puts Jordan into a $200 monthly deficit. Because Jordan has never done this simple cash flow breakdown, They feel like their bills are reasonable, but completely underestimate how much disappears into the black hole of variable spending. They have no emergency fund and a savings rate that is effectively negative. The solution starts with applying rule number 1. Jordan writes out a one-page cash flow snapshot. $4,500 take-home minus $3,600 fixed expenses leaves $900 for everything else. Step 2 is to cap that everything else, the variable, non-essential spending, at $500 instead of the usual $1,000 plus. This explicitly creates a $400 surplus that must be saved or invested, not used as overflow fund money. Step 3 is to direct that $400 automatically each month into a high-yield savings account to begin building an emergency moat, following rule number 2. Over time, Jordan also increases retirement contributions until the total wealth building hits at least 15% of that gross income, hitting rule number 3. The outcome. Within the first month, Jordan ends the month with $400 saved instead of a $200 deficit. After 6 months, Jordan has about $2,400 in a high-yield savings account, nearly a 1-month emergency moat. And by gradually raising 401k contributions, Jordan is now directing roughly 15% of their salary toward long-term wealth instead of lifestyle creep. Pause this video for 60 seconds and write down your take-home pay minus your fixed bills. If you don't know that number, type "I'm guessing" in the comments. Then come back and we'll figure out what to do next. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If all your money is sitting in cash, inflation is quietly robbing you every year, and your bank is the only one getting rich. This brings us to rule number 4. Save for security, invest for independence. People often hear the phrase, saving is losing, and get confused. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have savings. It means that over the long term, money sitting in very low interest accounts is losing purchasing power. With inflation running close to 3% in late 2024, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, parking long-term money in an account paying under 1% means you quietly lose around 2% of your purchasing power every year. That's why we must distinguish between 2 types of money. Security money is your 3 to 6 month emergency fund. It needs to be safe, stable, and liquid, which is why a high-yield savings account is perfect. Independence money is for the long term. This money needs to grow, and it does that through investing in diversified, low-cost U.S. stock index funds. Historically, broad U.S. stock market indexes have returned somewhere around 7% to 10% per year on average over long, multi-decade periods. This is how you outpace inflation and build real wealth. A simple way to understand this is the rule of 72. Just divide 72 by your expected annual return to estimate how many years it takes for your money to double. At a 7% average annual return, your money doubles about every 10 years. At 9%, it doubles in 8 years. Compare that to your savings account earning 4.5% APY. After 3% inflation, your real growth is only about 1.5%. Meaning your money would take nearly 50 years to double in purchasing power. Saving is for security. Investing is for independence. This leads to rule number 5. Treat your personal finances like a business. I call this running you incorporated. In a business, your revenue minus your expenses equals your profit. It's the same for you. Your take-home pay is your revenue. Your spending is your expenses. Your monthly savings and investments are your profit. Think about it. A business that never shows a profit or consistently breaks even would be called a failing business. Yet, so many households accept break-even or negative months as normal. With the typical full-time worker earning about $60,000 a year, simply running your household like a business, knowing if you made a profit this month, can be the difference between treading water and actually moving ahead. To do this, create a simple one-page profit and loss statement for yourself each month. At the top, list your income. Below that, list your fixed expenses. But then you add a new line item, target savings. This is a mandatory expense that you pay to your future self. It's not optional. Only after that do you budget for lifestyle and discretionary spending. You cap that spending to ensure that you Inc. is profitable every single month. This simple mindset shift from a passive consumer to the CFO of your own life is a complete game changer. Running a business is hard work, which is why the best ones use systems. That's rule number 6. Automate rich, not broke. Systems always beat willpower. Relying on discipline to manually save money every week after you've already seen it in your checking account is a losing battle. You'll be tempted by a sale, a night out, or just life. But automatic systems like 401k contributions from your paycheck, automatic transfers to your IRA, and automatic bill pay bypass decision fatigue entirely. The money is moved before you can miss it. Most people have no idea how much the IRS actually allows them to shelter in retirement accounts each year. In about 60 seconds, I'll give you the exact dollar amounts for 2024, so you can see how close or how far you are from using them. For 2024, the IRS lets you put up to $23,000 of your own money into a 401k, plus another $7,500 if you're 50 or older. That's a huge amount you can automate straight out of your paycheck. On top of your 401k, you can put up to $7,000 into an IRA in 2024. $8,000 if you're 50 or older, which works out to about $580 to $670 a month if you want to max it out automatically. For example, on a $95,000 salary, setting your 401k to 10% means about $9,500 a year going straight into investments. Add an automatic $300 a month to a Roth IRA. That's another $3,600, and you've automated more than $13,000 a year toward your future. No willpower required. Let's look at 2 quick examples. First, Sarah is a 32-year-old nurse earning $72,000. She's a great saver and has $25,000 in a standard savings account earning less than 1%. She's afraid of the stock market. Her essential monthly expenses are about $2,000, so she has a massive moat. But her money isn't growing. The solution for Sarah is rule number 4. She should keep 6 months of essentials, about $12,000, in a high-yield savings account for security. Then, she can move the extra $13,000 plus an additional $500 a month into a broad U.S. stock market index fund inside a Roth IRA or her 401k for long-term growth. Now, consider Luis. He's a 29-year-old sales associate whose income swings between $55,000 and $75,000 a year. He spends freely in high commission months and racks up credit card debt in lean months. The solution for Luis is rule number 5. He needs to run You Inc. He builds a simple profit and loss sheet using his average income. He separates fixed bills from lifestyle costs and sets a required monthly profit of 15% that must go into savings. For both of them, rule number 6, automation, is key. Sarah increases her 401k contribution to 10% and sets up an auto transfer to her Roth IRA. Louise sets a base retirement contribution that works even in lean months, and an additional automatic transfer in any month his income exceeds his average, treating the extra as bonus profit. Within a year, Sarah has a comfortable emergency fund, but now also has over $13,000 invested and growing. Luis turns chaotic cash flow into a system with consistent profit, stops adding debt, and keeps his long-term savings on track, no matter what his commission check looks like. You've stopped the deficit, built a moat, and started investing. Third, it's time to take back what you're paying the banks and protect the income machine that makes all of this possible. This brings us to rule number 7. Kill high-interest debt first. This means stopping the funding of your bank's retirement plan. Remember that bank rate survey? Because more than half of Americans can't handle a $1,000 emergency from savings, they swipe a credit card instead, often at 20% interest or higher. This creates a debt cycle that is incredibly difficult to escape. The priority order for getting out is critical. First, build a small starter emergency fund of $1,000. This is your buffer to stop the bleeding. It prevents you from reaching for the credit card for the next small shock. While you do this, pay only the minimums on all your debts. Once that $1,000 cushion is in place, you direct every single extra dollar toward your highest interest debt. This is called the debt avalanche method. Some people prefer the debt snowball, where you pay off the smallest balance first for a psychological win. Both work. The key is to focus your firepower. During this time, you should scale back any investing beyond what's needed to get your full employer match in your 401k. Think about the math here. Would you ever borrow at 20% to invest at 7%? Of course not. But that's exactly what carrying credit card debt while trying to aggressively invest is doing. When the stock market averages 7% to 10% over decades, but your card is charging you 20%, aggressively paying that card off is like getting a guaranteed, risk-free, double-digit return on your money. While you're paying down debt, you must also follow rule number 8. Protect the machine. The machine is you. It's your ability to get up every day and earn an income. Your ability to earn $60,000, $70,000, or $80,000 a year is your single biggest financial asset, worth millions over your lifetime. What happens if that machine stops for 6 months due to an illness or injury? Research from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows that job losses and health-related shocks are among the biggest reasons households fall into serious financial trouble. This is why having basic insurance is not a luxury. It's a necessity. This means having adequate health insurance. It means having disability coverage, which replaces a portion of your income if you can't work due to injury or illness. And if anyone depends on your income, a spouse, children, or aging parents, it means having simple term life insurance. These policies protect the engine that powers all the other rules. This rule also includes using the tax system to your advantage. Things like 401k plans, IRAs, and health savings accounts, HSAs, are tax-advantaged vehicles. They are tools provided by the government to help you build and keep more of your wealth. You don't need to be a tax expert, but you do need to use the basic tools available to you to protect and stretch the income your machine generates. Let's look at two people who need these rules. Kayla is a 33-year-old teacher earning $55,000. She's carrying $8,000 in credit card debt at 20% APR from car repairs and medical bills she couldn't cover. She pays a little over the minimum, so the balance barely moves. She's funding the bank's retirement plan. For Kayla, the solution is rule number 7. First, she builds a starter emergency fund of $1,000. Then, she directs every extra dollar she can find toward that 20% APR card. She uses the avalanche method and focuses all her energy on that one balance. Next, we have Marcus, a 38-year-old construction supervisor earning $65,000 and supporting 2 kids. He has health insurance through work, but no disability coverage and minimal life insurance. He's one accident away from financial catastrophe. In many big U.S. cities, a family's living costs can easily be $3,000 to $4,000 a month. For Marcus, the solution is rule number 8. He reviews his employer benefits and adds long-term disability coverage. He also gets a level-term life insurance policy large enough to cover 10 to 12 years of his income, ensuring his family could pay the mortgage and living costs if his income disappeared. Once these risks are covered, both of them can start using tax-advantaged accounts to build wealth. Marcus increases his 401k contribution to get his full employer match. And Kayla sets up a Roth IRA. Over 18 to 24 months, Kayla eliminates her $8,000 debt, saving thousands in interest. Marcus gains peace of mind, knowing his family is protected from his biggest financial risks. Now for the final 2 rules that tie everything together. Let's look at 2 budgets. Both people earned the same $68,000. In one life, money just disappears into a fog of subscriptions, takeout, and random online buys. In the other, goals like travel and financial freedom are being funded every single month. Which life would you rather live? That choice is made with rule number 9. Give every dollar a job. This is often called zero-based budgeting. It's simple. Your income minus your planned spending must equal 0. Every single dollar that comes in is assigned to a specific job: bills, savings, debt payoff, or fun. Savings and investing are treated as mandatory line items, not as an afterthought. To do this effectively, you need realistic benchmarks. Across big U.S. cities, a single adult often sees total living costs of $3,000 to $4,000 a month: rent, food, transport, utilities, and basics, according to recent BLS consumer spending data and city cost trackers. This might include $1,500 to $2,500 for rent, $500 to $700 for food, and a few hundred each for transport and utilities. Knowing these ranges helps you see if your spending is in the right ballpark. The key here is not deprivation, it's intentionality. This is about values-based cuts. Instead of a no-fun budget, you deliberately shrink the categories you don't truly care about, like that gym membership you never use, or the 5 streaming services you forget you have. So you can grow the categories you value most, like a travel fund, your retirement accounts, or saving for a down payment. Finally, we arrive at rule number 10. Think in decades. Act in days. Building wealth is a long-term game built on short-term actions. The long-term vision is powered by compounding. If your investments earn on average 7% to 10% a year over decades, the rule of 72 says your money can double roughly every 7 to 10 years. Someone who consistently saves and invests 15% of their income from their 20s can see their money double 2, 3, or even 4 times over their working lifetime. This is why acting in days matters so much. In about 2 minutes, I'll show you how waiting just 5 years to start investing can cost you what could have been an entire extra doubling of your money. The math is brutal. At a 7% average return, waiting just 5 years to start can mean having roughly 30% to 40% less money by retirement compared to starting today with the same monthly contribution. The cost of waiting is immense. That's why you need a concrete plan you can start today. Here is a 7-day action plan that pulls all these rules together. Day 1 and 2. Create your cash flow snapshot and a basic zero-based budget. Day 3. Open or switch to a high-yield savings account for your Moat. Day 4 and 5. Log into your employer's portal and set up or increase your 401k contributions. Open an IRA. Day 6. List all your debts, their interest rates, and choose your payoff method: avalanche or snowball. And day 7. Write a simple 1-page U Inc. monthly report and set a recurring monthly calendar reminder to review it. Let's bring this home with Hannah and Ava. Hannah is a 31-year-old graphic designer earning $68,000. Her take-home is about $4,200 a month. After about $3,300 in essentials like rent, food, and transport, the remaining $900 just disappears into subscriptions, impulse buys, and random entertainment. She has almost no savings. Ava is a 26-year-old software engineer earning $85,000. She contributes a minimal amount to her 401k because her employer auto-enrolled her. But she tells herself she has plenty of time to save more later. Hannah's problem is unplanned spending. Ava's is underestimating the cost of waiting. The solution for Hannah is rule number 9. She builds a zero-based budget, caps her low-value spending on takeout and subscriptions, and frees up $400 to $600 a month. She gives that money a job, part to a travel fund, part to her emergency Moat, and part to her Roth IRA. The solution for Ava is rule number 10. She increases her 401k contribution toward a 15% total rate and opens a Roth IRA. She visualizes how each decade can double her money. Both of them commit to the 7-day plan. The outcome: Hannah is now funding goals she actually cares about without feeling deprived. Ava, by acting now, has locked in an extra decade of compounding. By her mid-50s, that single decision could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars more than if she had waited. Pick one thing from this 7-day plan and type it in the comments. Day 3. Open high-yield account. Or Day 4. Increase 401k so you're not just watching, you're committing. So, what have we learned? If you earn anywhere near the typical U.S. income, about $60,600 a year according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but feel broke, it's usually not about the gross salary. It's about stopping the deficit, building a real emergency Moat, and paying yourself at least 15% first. Cash in a high-yield savings account protects you from life's shocks, but it's long-term investing in diversified U.S. stock index funds at 7% to 10% average returns over decades that builds independence, especially when you use tax-advantaged accounts and automation to your advantage. Finally, thinking like the CFO of U Inc., giving every dollar a job, killing high-interest debt, and protecting your income with the right insurance turns you from financially fragile into financially resilient over time, even at incomes modestly above the U.S. median. Here's your plan. Immediate. In the next 24 hours, do a 15-minute cash flow snapshot and open or identify a high-yield online savings account paying around 4% to 5% APY, where your emergency moat will live. If you already have one, nickname it Moat and move at least $50 into it right away. Short term, in the next 7 days. Follow the 7-day plan we outlined. Map your income and fixed expenses. Set up or increase automatic 401k and IRA contributions toward that 15% wealth building rate. List your debts and choose a payoff method. And create your one-page U Inc. monthly report term. And long-term, over the next 3 to 12 months, focus on building your emergency fund toward 3 to 6 months of essentials, eliminating your high-interest credit card debt, and scheduling monthly money dates to review your progress. If you want step-by-step U.S.-specific money playbooks like this, with real 2024 numbers and examples, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next rule-by-rule breakdown. Comment below with which rule you're starting this week. Rule 1, cash flow check. Rule 2, moat, or Rule 3, pay yourself first. If this helped, tap the like button so more people who feel broke on $70K can find it. This video is for educational purposes only and is based on publicly available U.S. data from sources like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Bureau of Economic Analysis, Federal Reserve Bank of New York, IRS summaries, and major financial institutions as of 2024. It is not individualized financial, tax, or investment advice. Viewers should consider their own circumstances and may want to consult a licensed professional before making major financial decisions.